Today I'll be writing a program that uses a for loop and recursion to calculate all the natural numbers before an integer that the user has entered. So I already have my IDE opened. I'm gonna go ahead and go to Scene Builder and try to create my UI. I'm trying to grab the label, but it's not working, so I'm gonna go ahead and type them in. So I need two labels. Then I need a text field. Then I need a button. Text for the button will be equal to calculate. Then for the first label, the text is gonna be enter a number. Now I only need two IDs. One for the empty label, which is gonna print out the result, and another for the text field to get the number the user entered, so input. Then now you can check the scene builder, and this is what I have. Come over to my controller class, then say add fxml. Then I'm gonna get my first label. I need the input. Then copy this again, and I need the result so I can set the text. Then now paste this again. I can create my method, protected, and I'm gonna call my method protected void, not gonna return anything. I'm gonna call my method loop, doesn't have any parameters. First thing I want to do is create a number. This number will store or have a value of the input that the user entered. So to do that, a string cannot be an integer. A string cannot be assigned to an integer. So I need to call the integer that parse int method. Then I need to get the input field and get the text from it, whatever the user entered once they click this loop method. And this right here. Then I'm going to need a sum integer. This integer is going to store 0 for now, initially, and then eventually it will store the total of all the natural numbers. Then now I can move on to my for loop. In my for loop, we're going to set I. We're going to have an integer of I. We're going to set it to 1 because that's going to be our starting number. We're going to count up to the number that the user entered, and then we're just going to add them. Then while I is less than or equal to num, then we can increment by 1. Inside our loop now, first thing we want to do is add I to sum so we can get the total. Then now we need to be sorting out our text, how we're going to return it to the user, so we know that I is an integer and we want to print out this statement to the user in the result label. So to do that, I'm going to say string builder text equal new string builder. Then after which I can append I, but before I do that I gotta say string. I gotta turn the int into string, so string the value of, then I can put I in it. That's gonna convert I. Why is this blank? Okay, I'm gonna do this right here. Say string num string equal that. Then I'm gonna pass this right here. Then now we're gonna say if, because we need to add the plus sign in between. Say if I is not equal to num, then we're gonna add the plus sign that happened. I'm gonna add the plus sign to we're gonna add the plus sign to the text. Then outside our loop now, I'm gonna set the result, which is this label right here in between the text field, and this should be a text field between the text field and the label. The result that's set text, and the first thing I'm gonna have is the text, and then we're gonna have a equal sign. Then we're gonna concatenate the sum. Now we're gonna run it. Go to my launcher, run it, and see how it runs. So there we have our first label, enter a number, calculate button. And I forgot to add my on action to my button in loop. What's wrong? Why is it doing this? So NES has this. Then now go back to our launcher. We can run it now. So we're gonna enter 8. What I'm expecting to happen is I'm gonna have 1 plus 2 plus 3 all the way to 8, and then it's gonna have equal sign and then 36. And there we have it. Now I'm gonna create a method inside my controller method, but I'm gonna be using recursion this time. So make sure I'm outside of that loop, or this method right here. Then now I'm gonna say protected. We're gonna return an int this time, and we're gonna call it recursion. Now for my parameters, I'm gonna have int number, then I'm gonna have the sum, or rather a counter, then I'm gonna have the sum. What's up, Dad? Then I'm gonna have the sum. Now, first thing I wanna have is my base class. If num is equal to 0, then we want to print out. I'm just going to use the console to make it faster. I'm going to print out an equal sign and return sum. Why is this complaining? Okay. Then now I want to print out the on our print line. Just print right here. I want to print the counter. And then now we can borrow this method right here. Not method, but condition statement. We paste it right there. And then we're going to change this to counter. And change this to S out. And remove these. Then now, lastly, we want to call the statement again. Not the statement, but the function. Then we're going to say recursion. We're going to say num. We gotta remove 1 from the num. Then the counter, we're gonna add 1. So we're gonna plus 1. Then for the sum, we're gonna add sum plus num. Now I'm just gonna call this method right here, and for the number, we're gonna add 8 again. For the counter, we have to use 1, starting with 1, just like our for loop. Then the sum will be 0. And then I am going to change this method, not method, but statement, to a SR statement, and remove this and put all of this in comments. Actually, I can use this variable right here. Remove this and this. Save it. Finish that loop. Run it. Now, I enter 8. I didn't set the label, so it should be in our console. And there you have it. I just need to fix the print line right here and run it again. Call 8, and then in the console, there you have it.